This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So in the last few sessions, we discussed about subroutines and what include programs. Now let us start with function models. Okay, we have what function modules. Let us understand how to work with function models. So function model also you can compare, it is similar to what subroutines. When do we go for this subroutines? When you want the same code to be executed multiple times at different places, we'll go for what? Subroutines. Okay, function models also same thing. Function models are created only once but can be called any number of times, just like subroutines. The difference, the main difference between the subroutines and function models is subroutines, where do we create within a program, na? But whereas function modules, they are created and maintained in a separate tool called as function builder tool. Okay, they are created and maintained in a separate tool called as function builder tool, SE37. SE37 is a transaction code for what? Function builder tool. Okay, this tool we can use for creating and what? Maintaining the what? Function models. For creating and maintaining the function, for creating, uh, for view, for creating, maintaining, viewing that function models, we can use this particular tool, function builder tool. Okay, so as part of this SAP system, there are many standard function modules provided by what? SAP itself. I repeat once again, there are many standard function models provided by SAP itself. We should know how to use that particular standard function models. Apart from using the standard function models, we can also create custom function models. That is called as Z function models. Whatever we create, we call that as what? Z function models. Okay. So first what I'll do is I'll open this function builder tool and I'll show you the environment related to this particular function builder tool. So before that, we know external subroutines. Where the external subroutines are stored? The external subroutines are stored inside what? Subroutine pool. They are stored inside subroutine pool, or they can be stored in other external programs. Similarly, function models are stored inside what? Function group. Function models are stored inside what? Function group. Something like this here. Observe this. So function models are stored inside what? Function group. So just observe here. Function modules are stored inside what? Function group. So where do we create the function group? By using the T code what? SC80, object navigator, we create the function group. So we'll see later on how to create the function group. Before that, as I told you, in the SAP system, there are many standard function models provided by what? SAP itself. Okay, so these standard function models, they are provided by SAP. They are stored inside what? Standard function group. Custom function models means what? They are developed by what? ABAP consultant. Obviously, they are stored inside what? Custom function group. They are stored inside what? Custom function group. Okay, right. Yeah, is my voice is clear or is it breaking?
Clear.
Clear only, na?
Yes.
Okay, right, fine. So where we are now? So we understood that function modules are stored inside what? Function group. Function models are stored inside what? Function group, and there are many function models given by what? SAP itself. So what I'll do is let me go to function builder tool, SE37. Let me re-log in. So in a SAP system, there are thousands of function models. There are thousands of function models given by what? SAP itself. Okay. So I'll go to SE37. SE37. It will open me what? Function builder tool. Function builder tool. Okay. So in this function builder tool, here you have to provide the function module name. Let me open one function module like BDC underscore open underscore group. So how many function models are there in SAP system means my answer will be you'll have thousands and lakhs of function models. Very clear. But as an ABAP consultant, we'll be using some 40 to 50 function models very frequently in almost in every project. Okay, almost in every project we'll be using those function models. So as part of our course, as part of this Core ABAP, Oops ABAP and Cross Apps, in different topics, we'll be covering what different function models. When we go to smart forms, we'll see some function models. When we go to module pool, some other function models, BDC, some other function models like that. Topic wise, we have what some function models which we use very frequently. So those function models we'll see how to use. So one of the function model is what? BDC underscore open underscore group. Where these function models are stored? Yes, function models are stored inside what? Function group. So observe this carefully. If I display here, if I display, this is a standard function model given by SAP. Na? Let me go back. I'm in SC37 now. Okay, this is a standard function model. That's why it is not starting with Z or Y. If it is a custom function model, we will start with what?
Z.
Yeah, we'll start with Z or what? Y. Done. So this is a standard function model given by SAP. So if I display, I cannot modify. I'll try to modify. Means I'll try to open this standard function model in change mode, editable mode. If I click on change, it is asking what? Access key. So what is the meaning? I cannot modify the standard function model. So I'll click on what? Display only. Okay, I'll cancel. Access refused. Continue. Okay, and in the initial screen, I'll just click on display. Okay, right. It has opened the function model. So don't worry about these things. These attributes, import, export, changing tables, exceptions. Okay, exception, source code, right? All this thing will be understanding in the next 2 days. So initially, let me go to attributes tab. I'll go to attributes tab. In the attributes tab, yeah, in the attributes tab, you can see What is this here? Function group. What is the function group? SBDC. See why I'm showing all these things is this is very important. So every function model, whether it is standard function module or a custom function model, they are stored inside what? Function group. Obviously, standard function models, they are provided by SAP and they are stored in what? Standard function group. So observe this carefully. This function model, BDC open group, it is stored in which function group? SBDC. Okay, so just try to understand this. We have a function model BDC underscore open underscore group. This is stored in which function group? SBDC. Okay, right. Let me open another function model BDC underscore insert. What is the purpose of this function model? We don't know, leave it. I'll display. If I go to attributes, what is the function group here? SBDC. Okay, so let me document that also. So what is this? BDC underscore insert. This is stored in what function group? SBDC. Let me open one more function model which I know. BDC underscore close underscore what? Group. If I go to attributes, what is the function group here? SBDC. Okay, let me document this. BDC underscore close underscore group. It is also stored in what? SBDC. So what I'm trying to convey is in one function group, we can have any number of what? Function models. Done. Let me open another function model. I'll open something F4 underscore file name. F4 underscore file name. When I display, if I go to attributes, what is the function group here? IBIP it seems. IBIP. So we have another function model F4 underscore file name which is stored in what? This particular function group. I'll open another function model F4 if underscore int underscore table underscore value underscore request. If I display, okay, go to attributes. What is the function group here? SDHI. Understood? This is the function model which is stored in the function group what? SDHI. Okay, so done. Now what I'll do is if you want to create the function group, what is the T code we use? SC80. So let me go to SC80, nothing but object navigator. So I'll go to SC80. Observe this carefully. Yeah, see this. What is one of the function group we collected? SBDC. In this SBDC, they are the function models we have, but we may have other function models also inside that function group. So I'm in SC80. From this first drop down, I'll choose what? Function group. Understood? From the first drop down, I'll choose function group. What is the function group I'm interested with? SBDC. SBDC. I'll press enter. Yeah. Okay. So in this function group, if I expand this function modules, how many are there? Many are there. One is BDC open group, BDC insert, BDC close group. Apart from that, we have other function models also. So this function group has got around 10, 12. This function group has got around 10, 12 function models. What is the other function group I collected? IBIP. Yeah? IBIP. I'll press enter. Okay. So in this function group IBIP, we have around 5 to 6 function models. I'll open another function group SDHI. If I expand this, we have many function models. So what I want to convey is one function group can contain any number of what? Function models. Okay, right. So that is what the point we understood so far. And another point is, observe this. Every function group contains two include programs. It may contain many include programs, contains two important include programs. Okay, Already we know what is the include program. Include program can contain what? Global variable declarations. It can contain subroutine definitions. It can contain what? Module definitions. We have seen that yesterday. So every function group contains two include programs. One include ending with top, another include ending with UXX. Include ending with the top, I pronounce it as now onwards as top include program. Another include ending with what? UXX. It contains some sub includes. It contains some sub includes. So if you focus on this top include program, this top include program can contain what? Global variable declarations. It can contain what? Some subroutine and module definitions which can be used, okay, which can be used by all the function modules stored in that particular function group. So what I'll do is I'll take one function group here like SBDC. I'll take one function group as BDC, right? So this function group, if I go to includes section, we have many includes. One of the include ending with the top. Na? If I double click on this, top include program, right hand side, it opens that particular include program. It contains some variable declarations. It might contain some subroutine and module definitions. Like that, it may contain many things. And every function group also contains what? An include ending with what? UXX. Actually, this include, we will not use it. This is reserved for what? SAP. We don't use it explicitly. This is only for knowledge sake I am telling you. This contains what? Sub includes. Each sub include will refer to function model of that function group. So if I open that UXX, if I double click on this, it contains some sub includes. Each sub include is reference to a function model. So this include is created based on this function model. This include is created based on this function model. We have many function models now. On behalf of each function model, a separate sub include got created. Suppose if I open this include, it will open me which function model? BDC open group. If I double click on this, yes, it has taken that control to that particular function model. So the number of sub includes in this UXX include depends upon the number of function modules which are stored in that particular function group. If I am having 100 function models, here you will have 100 sub includes. Anyhow, we don't use this include explicitly. It is used by SAP internally. This file is generated by the function library. Never change it manually, please. We use only what? Top include program. This top include program can contain some declarations. These declarations can be used by what? All the function modules of that particular function group only. Okay. Similarly, let me open another function group, IBIP. IBIP. This is also another standard function group. Under includes section, under the includes, there are many includes. I'm not bothered about that. I'm interested only in the top include. Yeah, I can see from the bottom. I'll double click on the top include program. Yes. Okay, this is a top include program. It contains some sub include. It might contain some variables, all those things. Okay. So every function group contains this particular top include program. The top include program might contain what? Some variable declarations, all those things. These variables can be used by any of the function model of that particular function group. So what I covered so far is, just like subroutines, we have function models. Subroutines can be defined only once and can be called any number of times. Similarly, function models are defined only once, can be called any number of times. There are many standard function models provided by what? SAP. Every function model is stored inside what? Function group. One function group might contain any number of what? Function models. Where to see this function group information? Object Navigator. I see 80 to check what are the function models available in the function group. we need to use SC80, provide the function group name. We can see all the available function models in that particular function group. Okay, how to define a subroutine? How to define a subroutine? Form, end form. Similarly, function models are defined by using function, end function. So if I go to SC37 function builder tool, if I open any function model, right? So in the attributes tab, what I collected so far, only the function group information. Now you can see here in the source code, this is the place where we write the actual logic for the function model. How to define a subroutine? Form, end form. Na? Function models are defined by using what? Function, end function. So you can see between function and function, understood? Between function and function, there is some logic defined. Just like form, end form, we have function and function. Okay, we need not understand this logic. This is the standard code given by SAP. We need not understand that. Clear? And another point we should know is, if you take subroutines, I told internal subroutine and external subroutine, we know the difference. Similarly, if you take the function models, basically we have two types of function models: normal function model, remote function model, and this also another type of three function model types, update function models. Normal function models will be covering in our core ABAP. When we come to cross applications, we'll discuss about remote function models and update function models. Remote function models requires knowledge of RFCs, which requires knowledge of cross applications. So that we'll see later on. So in this core ABAP, for the rest of the core ABAP, we deal only with what? Normal function model. Normal function model means which can be accessed within the same server. Remote function model means which can be accessed from different SAP server also. Okay, as of now, let us focus only on what? Normal function model. So what is a function model? A function model is also a set of statements which are defined only once, can be called any number of times. Function models are created and maintained by using what? Function builder tool, SC37. Every function module is stored inside a function group. One function group can contain any number of function modules. Okay. Any questions up to this point? Okay. Now what we'll do is, before we start creating the custom function model, okay, I'll try to work with what? Standard function model. I'll try to work with the standard function model. One second, please. Excuse me, please. Okay. So what I'll do is, I'll take one simple function module which is given by SAP, and we'll see how to use that particular function model. So if I go to SC37, we have a function model, uh, pop-up to, okay, if I say pop-up to and star, and if I click on this icon and if I press F4, it will show me all the function models which are starting with pop-up underscore to. Okay, so one of the function model is what? Pop-up to confirm. pop-up to not confirm, I'll take inform, pop-up to inform. Okay, I'll take this function model pop-up to inform. So I want to call this particular function model. How do you call a subroutine? Perform statement. We will not blindly call the subroutine, right? Before calling the subroutine, we have to check the parameters which you have defined. You have to pass that parameters at the time of calling. Similarly, before calling any function module, whether it is standard function module or custom function module, we need to analyze the signature of the function model. Am I clear? We need to analyze the signature of the function model. What do you mean by signature? We need to check what are the parameters of the function model. Okay, we need to check what are the mandatory and optional parameters. We need to check whether the parameters are passed by value or by reference. We need to check whether the parameters contains any default values. So blindly we should not call the function model. Most of the people will try to call it blindly without understanding the signature. They'll fail the issue, they'll fail there. Okay, so what is my suggestion is, before calling any function model, analyze the signature of the function model. If possible, try to read the documentation of the function model if available. By reading the documentation, we will understand the purpose of the function model. Every function model may not have the documentation. In case if you have the documentation, read that particular documentation. So what is the function model I want to use? Pop-up to inform. Let me check whether I'm in any documentation related to this. I'll choose go to menu. I'm in which tool? Function builder tool. Choose the menu, go to documentation, function model documentation. I'll click on this. No documentation. Huh? Yeah, they gave the documentation here. What is the documentation? See, short text, dialog box to display a message. The function model returns a dialog box with a diagnosis message and the response options yes and no. One of this is pre-allocated. The user must confirm a processing step. The dialog box is presented on the screen in a fixed size. Title is displayed in the title bar. Diagnosis text 1, 2, 3 in the second to fourth line, blah, blah, blah. You have to read the documentation. We have to understand the documentation, right? So it is a function model which displays a dialog box to display a message. Okay, one second. Right. So I want to use this function model. So what I have to do now, if I display this, before using the function model, what you have to do? We have to check the signature. So if I display, observe this carefully. It is stored in which function group? STMY. Actually, I am not bothered about the function group now. What is the short text here? Dialog box to display a message. It is a normal function model done. So import parameters means these are the parameters which are received by your function model. Export parameters means these are the parameters returned by your function model. Changing means which will act as both import and export. Tables means nothing but internal tables. We already know how to deal with internal tables as parameters to subroutines. Similarly, the function models also might deal with what? Internal tables as parameters. Then we have something called as exceptions. We'll understand this in the next 1 or 2 sessions. Okay. I don't have I don't have any export parameter. We have some import parameters. No export parameter. Changing, nothing is there. Tables, nothing is there. Exceptions, nothing is there. This is the source code. This is the logic which is developed by SAP, which we need not understand. Okay, done. So according to the signature of this function model, how many import parameters? What do you mean by import parameters? These are the parameters which are received by your function model. These are the parameters which I need to export at the time of calling the function model. If we export, it will be imported. Okay, so according to the signature, we have 5 importing parameters. We have 5 importing parameters. Out of 5 importing parameters, you can see here the first 3, we have a column called as optional. The first 3 are not selected. Optional checkbox is not selected. If the optional checkbox is not selected, what is the meaning? It is mandatory parameter. It is compulsory parameter. Compulsorily, we must pass a value for these 3 parameters wherever we call this particular function model. Mandate optional checkbox is not selected means it is a mandatory parameter. What do you mean by mandatory parameter? You must supply the values, you must pass the values for these parameters wherever you call this particular function model. The last 2 are what? Optional. Optional means what? They are selected here. Optional means what? We may or may not pass. Even if you don't pass, not an issue. But the first 3 are marked as mandatory. Compulsory, we have to pass the values for this particular parameters. What kind of values will pass? Whether we pass integer, character, date, time, internal table, how do we know means that will understand from this associated type. But here they didn't give any associated type here. They didn't specify whether it is integer, character, decimal, date, time. They are not specified, but it is understood that they are character. How you understand that? Clearly saying title. Title is obviously what? Character. Na? What is the description they gave here? Title line of what? Dialog box. Obviously the title is character only. Na? TXT1, it is understood as a text. Text 2. So that's why they might have not given the data type. So it is understood that I must pass 3 string values. One is title, another is 2 text values because they are mandated. Export anyhow, nothing is there. I'll not talk about this as of now. So according to the signature of the function model, there are 3 mandatory parameters. So let us call this particular function model in our executable program. So I'll go to ABAP editor. Yeah, Z program. What is the last program? 37, I think. So I'll go for 38. Title. You give any title, whatever you want. I'll just give the title as calling what? Standard function models. Type of program is obviously what? Executable program. Let us save it in the local object. Yeah, so here I'll just say, right, what is this? Begin of program, end of program. Begin of program and end of program. Done, no errors. Yeah. So when I execute this, I'll get this statement, begin of program, and nothing to discuss here. Now, what is my agenda here? I want to call the function model. How do you call a subroutine? Perform keyword. Na? Perform keyword. So according to the signature of this function model, there are 3 mandatory importing parameters. Import parameters at the time of calling becomes export. Export at the time of calling becomes import, reverse. So how many parameters I must export? 3 parameters. What kind of values you have to export? String only, na? So characters. So what I'll do, I'll try to call the function model here. How do you call? I'll say call function, just like perform. Here you have to say call function. What is the function model name? What is the function model name? Pop up to inform. Call function what? Pop up to inform. Okay, so here I'll say call function in single quotes you have to give it. Call function pop up to what? inform. Call function pop-up to inform. Am I clear? So you have to give the period here. I'm trying to call the function model. Let us see what happens. So just like perform, here you have to say call function. In single quotes, you have to give the name of the function model. Let us see. I'm not supplying, I'm not exporting values for the what? Mandatory parameters. Let us see what happens. So when I save it, check for the syntax error, activate this. Then it is activated. When I execute, when I say F8, I got the runtime error. Can anyone correct me the error by analyzing this error? By analyzing this runtime error, can anyone tell me what could be the problem? Anyone? I'm waiting. Any inputs?
Hello, sir.
Yes, Rohit.
Sir, that three fields we don't give to the function model. That's why
Three
I think.
parameters. Three
Yes.
parameters.
Yes.
But the error is not talking about that. The error is saying that function model pop up to inform not found. If you see the short text here, what it is saying?
Okay.
Function model pop up to inform not found. What happened? An attempt was made to call the function model pop up to inform. This cannot be found in the library though. Okay, so no function. You can see the error analysis. The reason for the exception is an attempt was made to execute the call function statement in the program 838. The the name of the function model to be called is what? Pop-up to inform. No function model can be found named pop-up to inform. So it is saying that there is no function model with this name itself, it seems. But we have seen in function builder, we have a function model pop-up to inform. Na? But when I'm trying to call, it is giving me an error. It is raising the exception from a class called as cx underscore sy underscore dynamic underscore call underscore illegal function. Yes, can anyone correct me the error? It is not talking about the parameters.
Sir, maybe we need to define which group function is we are calling from.
Not required. Not required. We need not bother about the function group. That function model might be available in any of the function group, not an issue.
Okay. Okay.
Is there any problem with uppercase and lowercase?
So function module names are always captured in uppercase. Function module names, when they are stored in the system, they're always stored in uppercase. So to demonstrate that point, I'll go to a transaction code called as SC11. SC11 ABAP dictionary. ABAP dictionary. So just like we have many standard function models, there are many standard database tables given by SAP. Okay, we'll talk about this ABAP dictionary later on. But one of the database table is TFDR. What is a database table? It is a table where the data is stored permanently. So there is a table called as TFDR. This is a table given by SAP. That's why it is not starting with Z or Y. This is the table which holds the list of what? All the function models in the system, both standard as well as what custom. If I cannot modify this, I will open only in what display mode. So table is a collection of fields, na? Just like internal table is a collection of fields, a database table is also collection of fields. How many fields are there? 10 fields. In that there is one field here, FUNC name. FUNC name, it is a character field of size 30. What is the description? Yes, name of what? Function model. This is the field which stores the name of the function model. Okay, there is another field F mode, which is character of one, type of function model, whether it is a local or remote. Okay, so FUNC name is the field which stores the name of the function model. Let me check how many function models are there in this table. If I display, if I on the application toolbar, there is a button called as contents. On the application toolbar, there is a button called as contents. Just beside this technical settings, I am having a button called as contents. If you choose number of entries, how many are there? 5,34,015. Am I clear? These many number of function models are there in my server. You cannot remember, I cannot remember. Okay, so close it. So what is the one of the function model? What is the field which stores the function model name? FUNC name. If I go to contents, there is a field called as FUNC name. I'll just provide it. So if I click on execute, it will show me the first 200 records, but I don't want to check in that 5 lakhs. So I'll just directly know the function model name. I'll give it pop up to inform. Pop up to inform. Or I'll say pop up to INF star. Okay. If I say F4 or if I click on this, it will show me all the function models starting with this. If you browse this, yes, it is showing you that pop up to inform function model. If I execute, yeah, good. This is a function model name. It is stored in uppercase now. Okay, so TFDR is a table which stores all the function models list, and in this table the function model names are always captured in what? Uppercase. So this call is giving me what? Yes, runtime error, because we are trying to call it in what? Lowercase. Let me try to call it in uppercase. So what is that I have to do now? Whether it is a standard function model or custom function model, we should always call it in what? Uppercase. Done. Save it. Check for the syntax. No syntax errors. Execute. F8. I got. Oh, why I got the error was? Why I got the same error again?
We don't hide the first one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I have not commented it. Right. Sorry. Right. I have commented it. Done. Save it. Check for the syntax. Yeah. Execute. When I say F8, I got a different runtime error. From which class? I'm going very slowly. Slowly, I'm introducing this exception also. I got an exception. I got a runtime error. From which class? CX underscore SY underscore dynamic call parameter missing. Short text. Incorrect parameter with what? Call function. Incorrect parameter with call function. What happened when calling a function model? One of the parameters, there is a spelling mistake in the parameter spelling, error in the error. So when calling a function model, one of the parameters was not specified. The current program 38 had to be terminated because it has come across the statement that unfortunately cannot be executed. Error analysis. The reason for the exception is when calling the function model pop-up to inform, one of the parameters needed according to the interface description was not specified. This parameter was what? Title. It is saying that you are not specifying this title parameter. That's why I gave the runtime error. Where I got the runtime error, if I scroll down, I got the runtime error in the 7th line. What is that 7th line? I believe we are trying to call that particular function model. In the 7th line, we are trying to call the function model. So I got the runtime error. Okay. So if I scroll down, it is taking some time. Yeah, you can see this is the seventh line. This statement execution call function problem is giving what runtime. So even though I gave in uppercase, why I got the runtime error? Because we are not supplying the values for what mandatory parameters. So this also I'll comment for your reference. I'll say what runtime error. So what I'll do now, call function. What is this? Pop up to inform. So what is the error I got? You are not supplying the value for one of the parameter title. Na? So I'll try to pass a value for this title. There's a parameter called as title. It is under import. Na? Import while calling becomes what? Export. So here I have to say exporting. Exporting. What is that parameter name title? I can give it in uppercase or lowercase. Parameter names I can give it in uppercase or lowercase, doesn't matter. Okay, exporting title equal to, it is expecting what kind of value? We analyze that it is a character. Na? Title is obviously what? Character. So I'll give the title as something Gens of Technologies. Close it. Okay, I am closing the title. Give the period here. So out of three mandatory parameters, I'm supplying the value only for what? One mandatory parameter. Let's see what happens. Save it, check for the syntax, done, execute. F8. I got a runtime error again, incorrect parameter with the call function. This parameter was txt1. So it is not giving all the parameters list at a time. So there is talking about another parameter txt1. It is also marked as mandatory. Na? So you need to supply the value for that also. So this call also is giving me what? Runtime error. Let me copy it. Okay. So what I'll do here, space, you have to separate the parameters with what? Space. What is the parameter? txt1. txt1. So I'll say txt1 equal to, I'll say something ABAP training. Done. Okay, so out of three mandatory parameters, I'm supplying the value only for what? Two mandatory parameters. Check for the syntax, activate and execute. F8. I got the runtime error. This time the parameter is what? txt2. So what is the understanding? You must supply the values for all the mandatory parameters. Import while calling becomes what? Export. Okay, so this is also what? Runtime error. Okay, so what is the other parameter? txt2 txt2 equal to, I'll say something Hyderabad. Done. Save it, check for the syntax, activate and execute. Yes, what happened? I got the title box. I got the title as Gens of Technologies. I got ABAP training and what? Hyderabad. Working fine. And I'm having some write statements. Write statement will display the output on what? LPS. So this is very much valid. Am I clear? So import while calling becomes what? Import while calling becomes exporting. So this is valid. Instead of typing everything in the same line, I'll just to increase the readability, I'll put it in separate line like this, just to increase the readability. So that from year to year, it is only one statement. Remember, I gave the period only at the last. So I can do like this. This is also very much valid. So when I execute, yes, I got the same thing. Clear? So this is valid. This is valid, right? Instead of me typing all these things, I can make use of the pattern. I'll go to pattern. It is asking call function. Understood? On my application toolbar, we have a button what? Pattern. What is the function model you're interested? You can browse. It will show that all those 5 lakhs function models I'm not interested. So I'll directly say pop up to inform. Continue. So it will generate the signature automatically. If I use the pattern, you can see here text 3 and text 4, they are commented. Why they are commented? because they are optional. You may or may not pass. So text 1, I'll say something. Okay, text 2, I'll say something. Okay, text 2, I'll say Hyderabad. Text 3, I'm interested to pass. Okay, I'll just give some text here. Done. Text 4, like this. Is it clear? So you may or may not pass the values for the optional parameters. For mandatory parameters, compulsory we have to pass the values. So I got the output. So and so. Okay, so the summary is, we understood how to use a function model. We should not blindly call the function model. We have to analyze the signature of the function model and we have to pass. It is mandatory to supply the values for what? Mandatory parameters. Import while calling becomes export. Tomorrow onwards, we'll see other function models which might contain what? Export, changing tables and what? Exceptions. And one more feature is, we have the provision to test the function model here only. Here we are calling it from the program. Na? Understood? We can test it here only. Directly in function builder, we have the execute button. If I click on the execute button, right? So title, I'll give some value. Okay, I'll give some values here. Whatever values you want, you give it. Okay, I'm supplying the values for all the parameters. Click on what? Execute button. Yes, I got that particular. So we have the provision to test the function models from the function builder tool only. Right. So any queries up to this point? Okay, so what we understood so far is, function models are stored inside what? Function group. One function group can contain any number of, actually why that function group is important is, tomorrow when we create custom function model, we require our own function group. That's the reason I discussed about the function group. But in case of standard function models, I need not bother about in which function group it is stored. But when we create the custom function model, we require a function group. Na? So we should know how to create the function group. That we'll see tomorrow. And we understood that all the function models information is stored in which table? TFDR. And all the function models are internally stored in what? Uppercase. And before calling any function model, we have to analyze the signature of the function model to understand the optional and mandatory parameters, default values, pass by value, pass by reference, type of parameters, all those things. So in the next 1 to 2 hours, we'll see the other tabs also, like export, changing tables, exception. Throughout the course, in different topics, we'll be coming across different function model. The concept will remain what? Same. So in the next 1 or 2 hours, we'll be seeing this export, changing tables and what? Exception. So once we understand this environment, when we get into the advanced topics, we'll start working with the standard function models. This is a very simple function model I demonstrated today. Going forward, when we come to database programming, when we get into what is this reports, BDCs, will come across different function models. Yeah, Rohit, I'll reply to that mail. I'll reply to that mail. Okay, I have not drafted that. I've just gone through that. I have not tested it, but by looking at the code, I feel there is some redundancy and some performance issue. Okay, I'll reply. So once I reply, you can rectify that. Okay, right. Chaladan, so I'm done for today's session. We'll continue tomorrow. Any queries? Chaladan. So thank you, everyone. We'll meet tomorrow.